Hey, we've got some amazing news, and all the big brands want to be with Inside Ball, and none bigger than our great friends at Ladbrokes. They're now partnering with Inside Ball for the rest of the season, and we couldn't be more thankful. So, what you need to do, if you're an Inside Ball listener, it's that simple. You need to punt with Ladbrokes and get more out of your footy multis. I've got a Ladbrokes app. You need a Ladbrokes app. That's what you need to do. Go and get it. And you punt with Ladbrokes. You make quick, smart picks with stats and insights from the last 5 games. It's all there. All the information you want is right there on the Ladbrokes app. Then you track your multi in real time and within the app. So just like Darcy gave us that amazing multi last week, Cowboys, Broncos, Reece Walsh to score, well, you can get more and more insight with the Ladbrokes app. Jump on the Ladbrokes app today and start your punting journey. It's that simple. Welcome to Inside Ball, and we have another superstar. He is a dear friend of mine and a legend of the game, and I say that because of what he's done on the field and off the field. One of the youngest, he's youngest ever Queenslander to play Origin, and
he is the
for
youngest
Queensland.
ever Queenslander
Yeah,
still.
he certainly is. His name is the great Ben Ikin, and boy oh boy, has he got a story. Hello, Ike.
Hey, Ikey, how are you, mate?
Hello, lads.
Listen, I've got this front. Just let me get the front page here done,
Go.
and then you can
Go.
take over
You go,
from there.
mate.
Can I just say before you go, it's great to see you two still getting on this deep into a season, spending
How many
so much
weeks
time
ago?
together.
How many weeks
It's
ago?
hard work, Kev.
I know, mate. You know what it's like.
I'm one of your best mates. Can you stop that, please?
Righto. Here, this is not about
Go.
you. This is about Ikey, right? Our guest, Ben Ikin over here, right? Premiership winner in 2000, 150 NRL games, 8 games for the Gold Coast Seagulls.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what happened to the Seagulls? And they came into.
They
Oh, you went-
folded.
They folded.
I had to go to
You went to North Sydney.
Yeah.
I folded them too.
We'll get we'll get to that. 55 games for the Broncos. I thought that number might have been a few more. You had knee problems, didn't you, the back end?
I retired at 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. 17 games for Queensland.
Huge.
That's the big one, including being part of the Neville's. After just 3, how many games? 3 games of NRL.
3 first grade games, yeah.
Yeah. Shit. We'll
I
get to
ran
it.
out
Make
of
sure you ask that.
Oh,
and
no,
stop
no,
it.
I ran out of options, Kev.
And two matches for Australia, right? Unbelievable. Born on the Goldie.
Yes.
Tell us about your childhood, Ikey.
So, yeah, Gold Coast kid, but unfortunately born in Tweed Heads Hospital, which
Right.
is
New South
south
Wales.
of the border.
Yes, he is.
Alan Ikin assures
But how long were
me-
you in that hospital for?
No, Al Ikin assures me I was conceived in Queensland.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And then
Righto.
rushed back across the border. I went to Crumman Primary School, Palm Beach Crumman High School. Yeah, I'm as local as it gets down there. Yeah.
Was it like a real league school then? Even
Yeah, without being a league school, we just tended
Everyone.
to feel good teams.
Yeah.
When I was coming through, the gun team when I was in grade 8 or 9 was the side led by Craig Weston.
right? Remember Craig Weston?
Yeah,
He played for the Gold Coast.
He did, and he was like a rock star at our school.
Right.
And I think they went all the way to the state final in the Commonwealth Bank Cup back then.
Yeah.
And we had, of course, Rod Patterson as
Oh,
the
yeah,
head
he was
coach.
he's a
just
gun.
a legend in that field. He's a great coach, still a good friend of mine, someone I still ring for advice occasionally.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Were you Ikey, growing up as a kid, were you a rep team in all the rep teams growing up? Like, obviously, naturally, your hand-eye is phenomenal, but did you play cricket and did you play other sports other than rugby league?
Yeah, I did. I played cricket. I started in AFL, actually, at Palm Beach Currumbin. I was a 6-year-old playing in an under-9s team that was undefeated, and I played back pocket.
Is that right?
So for those that don't understand AFL, that's right at the back of the field. So when you're in an undefeated team, I touched the ball once.
Yeah, they wouldn't the ball much.
So a couple of seasons
So
in
were you
AFL.
a tall kid? Because you just average height.
Just sporty.
Yeah.
And then we moved across to Perth for a year as a family, and I played AFL over there as a
That's
young
where
kid.
you got your AFL background from, right?
Yeah, come back. I actually went from AFL to hockey, field hockey.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's a random thing, but I'm a left-handed batter in cricket, and
Yeah,
they
that's
only
right.
make right-handed hockey sticks. So I bat cricket left-handed, and as you both know, I'm a mad golfer.
Golfer,
I
yep.
play golf right-handed.
yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. And then final year of primary school, I'm at Currumbin State School, and they start inter-school sport for the first time ever. This is 1988, the year the Bronx came in and the Gold Coast Giants came in.
Yeah.
And the only two options they gave us in primary school, inter-school sport, were rugby league and netball.
Right.
So I started playing rugby league,
and that was it.
It was in my life
Really?
from that moment on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't know much about league before you signed up?
Nope. I only started
What about your dad and that? What was he?
He followed a bit of AFL, and we got into Origin. So I really only started watching rugby league the year before. So Queensland won in 87, and I became a Raiders supporter because they made the GF with a whole stack of Queenslanders in 87, lost to Manly.
Yeah.
And then I got very lucky because the Raiders went on a pretty good run after that.
Yeah.
You were there?
I was there for a couple of years.
At the start and into the early 90s.
So were you a Raiders fan growing up all the way till you started playing professional football?
Yes. Yep.
Did they ever offer you a contract in your time?
No. I had the two options I had, I think, coming out of high school were Gold Coast Seagulls and Manly. Bozo offered me to come down to Manly, and I still remember they used Steve Menzies in the sales pitch.
Right.
We've got this young kid, he was a winger, we've turned him into a back row, he scored 1 million tries.
Yeah.
That's what we can do down here, but I just chose to stay on the Gold Coast to be close to mum and dad.
Were you blown away at, I suppose, 16, 17, clearly that identified you as a potential, professional sportsman or something like that. So how does that happen for a bloke who's, loving life, you surfed, you love life on there, that you get to the Gold Coast?
It wasn't that certain for me, my journey into rugby league. So I went through school really young. So I started grade 12 at 15.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you.
How does that work?
Because of the age bracket,
No, my parents just started me in primary school young.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I was ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to go. So I finished high school at 16, and I was on my way to Armidale University to study science. And Rod Patterson saw something in me. He said, "Mate, look, you've got your marks. Why don't you just hang around for another 12 months and see if you can do something with your footy?" And at that point, I've got to be honest with you, in the group my age at just my school, I wouldn't have been in the top 5 kids. I had guys that went on and played NRL. Or at least got contracts. So I hung around the extra 12 months, and he was right. I ended up playing Australian schoolboys.
Oh, did you? Who with?
Australia.
Yeah.
No,
what players,
Oh, so Brett Kamali was in my team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was.
Were you centre or wing, fullback? What were you?
I was off the bench.
Off the bench.
So in the Queensland schoolboys team that year, I was 5'8". Darren Lockyer was halfback.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Stop.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I was in the centres and he was 5'8", and then the Queensland under-17s club side, I was 5'8" and he was halfback.
Right.
So you played football with him from 17 years of age?
He was the gun from under-12s from primary school. He was the best kid in the state.
Everyone knew
the
about
whole
Lockie.
way through.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, right.
And so I repeat, I make the rep sides in my final year, which wasn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
Got offered the contract.
Broncos come sniffing? Never?
Never. No. Not until 1999.
Yeah, well, I factored. I think it was 98 when they.
Yeah.
In fact, I know it was 98.
He didn't know who I was until he
part.
put a kick in at the end of game 1.
Yeah, well, I just watched that then again. Like, that's just footy, isn't it? Like,
Instinct.
how good?
Yeah.
How good? We love this bloke. I remember the Origin series, 98. Ben Ikin, North Sydney, because North Sydney Bears, and they were a good side.
Yeah,
you played
we
in.
were.
Very good side. And then we got into camp with this fella, and he was a dead set Bronco, mate. Because he
played hard.
Well, one, he obviously had a lot of ability. 2, he trained hard, loved his training. And 3, he liked it. He was a great fella.
Played
and a good
hard
person.
Played hard off the field.
And enjoyed a beer and a good time in the right
of course.
perspective.
Of course.
But he was a perfect fit for a typical Broncos module.
Yeah.
So Wayne was coaching the Queensland side. That's the advantage, I guess, if you're an NRL coach in Origin.
Footy.
Yeah. You can pick the eyes out of the Queensland team, which he did.
Yeah, well, at that stage.
And so the Origin, after game, I'm not sure which game it was after. It might have been after the series or after game 1. He grabbed Alf and I said, "What do you think about Ikin?" I said, "Get him tomorrow, Wayne. Get him out. Bring him in. He's one of us." Oh, beautiful. He said, "Yeah, that was it. I like him too. He's easy to coach and seems like a good kid." Next minute, he's in a Broncos jersey.
He's in more than one.
So that's why part of the reason why club coaches
Should be coaching.
Should or shouldn't be, whichever way you like
and
it.
to be fair, like, I love my time at the North Sydney Bears.
Yeah. No, they were great.
There was a few things that needed to happen. Like the Bears, as I said before, they folded. We had to merge with Manly. So had to take 2 squads and turn it into one. And in my personal life, I was ready to come back to Queensland. So I get to play with these blokes in 98 because the only 2 Origin series I'd played in prior to that were split series, 97 and 95. I hadn't played with any Broncos.
So you'd never played with any Broncos at that stage?
So 98, we all come back together. We beat New South Wales. Everybody has a great time. So the coach and some of the players from up there get a look at me and then roll into the next year. And the game is going through this rationalisation process. Clubs are merging and the Bears are in that mix. And so an opportunity presented to come home. And I've got to be honest with you, I'd originally started talking to come home to the Gold Coast Chargers, who at that point was still alive.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
But they folded in the rationalisation.
So I folded them before I even got there. That's 3 clubs done.
That's 3.
And then the Broncos opportunity presented, and you just, you get the opportunity to go to the Broncos, and you're a Queensland kid, you grab it.
Yeah.
Look,
we got to talk about 95. The Nevilles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3 games of NRL.
And it's well documented, the Fatty story, but so I don't even
Is that
really
true, though? Can you confirm that story?
That's 100% true.
You got out of the lift on level 5 of the Travelodge.
6.
Level 6?
If memory going on you.
Yeah, it is,
level
mate.
6.
It is level 6, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the Nevilles might have been on level 6. The real estate. No, just joking. So you got out of the lift and Fatty's there. What? You're in the lift by yourself, obviously. Nervous.
He got in the lift with Matt Singh on the ground floor, and we're all going to the same spot.
So Matt Singh knew who you were too?
No, clueless. Mate, I've got to be honest. I didn't know who Matt Singh was, but they clearly knew each other, so they're having a good old chat. But I'm at the back of the lift already, and dressed like a Gold Coast kid. So they get in, they're talking away, and then they just turn their backs on me. Keep talking. Well, this is going to be great. We're going to beat New South Wales, and Fatty's cracking a few gags. We get to the 6th floor, and they get out together. Of course, they must know where they're going. I'm following in behind, and Fatty must have had a sense that someone was up his backside. He turns around, he sees me again. He says, "Mate, I'm sorry. This floor is for State of Origin players only. If you want some autographs, you'll have to wait downstairs in the foyer." And I was, mate. My name's Ben Ikin. I'm in the side. And, only Fatty could get away with that.
Yeah.
Or someone like Alf. So it's just like a head wobble. I said, we're coming in then. We've got an Origin series to win.
Yeah, jeez.
Was it nervy? I mean, was it nerve-wracking for you? I mean, 3 games, or were you that oblivious at that stage?
When you're 18, you get nervous, but you don't get nervous the way you do at the back end of your career, where you feel a burden of expectation to deliver for a whole lot of people. You just turn up. You love playing the game. Sure. It's bigger, it's harder, it's faster, but you don't think.
You don't think about
that. No, you do not. You just get on and you play, and those are the best years in your footy career. So for me, to be part of that, it was made a lot easier. Funnily enough, I got in that side because the year before, that under-17s Queensland side that I played in with Darren Lockyer was before Game 1 1994, Mark Coyne miracle try, right? So we play, I play pretty good, and at the back end of the game, Arthur Beetson actually comes and talks to me about maybe come down the Roosters, and at that point I'd already made a decision to go to the Gold Coast. But he'd seen me play. Fast forward 12 months, on from that Mark Coyne miracle try game and me catching up with Arthur Beetson. They're in the selection room, and they literally run out of options because there's no Broncos players available in 1995. And Arthur Beetson said, you know what? I saw this kid play last year in the Queensland under-17s. He's made his debut now. He's going all right. Why don't you give him a shot? Anyway, so Fatty says, beautiful. Put him in. Forgot me very quickly, obviously. And then when I turned up to camp, reintroduced myself to Fatty, you want to know who my roommate was? Mark Coyne.
Oh, is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, how the wheel turns.
Unbelievable. You'd been and watched him 12 months earlier, and then and then you end up with Mark Coyne.
Arthur Beetson was there. He got me in the team. I'd watched Mark Coyne score that try, and he was my roommate.
Phenomenal.
And a great roommate too. His nickname was the Moth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, wherever there was a light on in Brisbane in the first 3 days, he'd be there.
Is that right?
Loved it. He loved the gig. Remember the gig? Yeah. You would remember the gig. It was the last place open in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And if you want to find where Mark Coyne was,
he'd be at the gig.
Well, he wasn't there by himself. He had some mates.
And Kevie's already pointed out, and I think you've reminded him too, that I did enjoy a good time in my younger years. So very quickly, my nickname became the Chrysalis.
North Sydney, you go there, and it folded, and you come back to Brisbane. And where do you reckon you played your best football at club level? Where does? I mean, I understand you won a premiership there, but if you look back at your career, where was your best football played at?
I had pockets of good footy. I wasn't the most consistent player. And I look back and there's probably a whole lot of things I could have done better to produce more consistent football. But, whether it was the Gold Coast and my career was just getting going, origin for Queensland, time at the Bronx, I spent 4 years at the North Sydney Bears. We made 2 prelims. You had to get a lot right. And so I played some quality footy at the centre position when I was learning my trade at first grade. Then I sort of got bumped in, played a bit more of a playmaking role, 5'8". I played a bit of fullback at North Sydney. And then the year I got to the Bronx, I started in the centres and then ended up, Kevie moved into halfback and I moved into 5'8" and played that season in the halves. But I would say that, I'm proud of, some of the footy I played at all 3 clubs I represented. And at all levels.
Tell us about your bit of time at the Bears, because living in Sydney is different, obviously, isn't it? How'd you manage that as a young lad from the Gold Coast, who's a totally different sort of culture on the Gold Coast to what there is in North Sydney?
And you were close to your family as well, I'd say. So
but they used to come down a lot.
Did they?
Yeah, and we had some good Queenslanders at North Sydney. So Billy Moore, Gary Larson, Brett Dallas became a good mate of mine. But, there were new players coming to the club at the same time I was. Brett was one of them. Michael Butner came across from Parramatta.
Good side.
Yeah,
good side.
They made 3 prelims there, right? Unluckily.
Yeah.
Just Jason Taylor, good player?
Great player, great leader. Very good professional. So I played with a few great halfbacks, and you probably take, like Alf. Alf was give him a ball, cross the white stripe, and he'll give you his best. And he wasn't interested in anything unless there was a football involved. I remember watching Alf run the gap and do the interval training.
Run the gap. That better take that statement back.
He wasn't one for extras. He just had great natural ability, and he had this burning desire to win. And he knew how to get it done, right? Whereas Jason Taylor, I think right up until I left the Bears, he was still struggling to push out 100 kilos on the bench. We'd all get around him, on testing day, and he'd get to 95, he'd throw it up. We'd get to 97 and a half, he'd go. We'd get to 100, and he'd just the boys would be cheering. So not physically blessed, and had to work really hard to beat his best for every game. And he was a great thinker, but in terms of durability, I think he might still hold the record for the most number of consecutive games in first grade.
Right.
Yeah, and he was very good at holding the rest of the team to account in a different way to some of the other leaders that I've played with. But he was someone that came into my life at the right time, because watching him prepare and play taught you about some of the habits you needed to be consistently good at that level.
Where'd you live in Sydney? Whereabouts did you live?
Lived at a place called Russell Lee, which was just near Drummoyne and Five Dock. Right. So it's just, they call it the inner west.
Yeah.
So it was about
And who'd you live with?
So in a block of units, there was myself, Brett Dallas, and Matt Singh. But back when all of our agents were working together, I think they got a deal on this development from the developer, and so that was good. And I had a partner at that point in Sydney who'd come down from the Gold Coast. So that was helpful. Mum and Dad used to come and visit a lot. And then if you're part of a footy club, there's a great sense of belonging. So you got this whole community of people, not just your teammates, but the staff, who are always checking in on you. So if you're a young kid at 18, which is the age I moved down, moving away from your family, who you're very close to, a footy club's about the best environment you can do it in.
How good.
Because there's lots of people reaching. Well, there should be technically the good clubs reaching out. Checking.
So, mate, you go back to Brisbane. You're playing football. Wayne Bennett, we know the authority, but you somehow start dating his daughter. I mean,
I've got a story here too.
This is one of the great. There's Wayne Bennett, and nobody misses Wayne Bennett. And then, of all people to start dating, you start dating his daughter.
I often claim it's the bravest thing I ever did as a footballer.
I reckon it is.
Because I was an outside back, remember?
But that's it must have been nerve wracking. I mean,
Mate.
you look back now, that is a brave move. Sometimes
You kept
you
it
go,
quiet though for so long.
Well, yeah, and the truth of it is, in human terms, relationship terms, once we started chatting and started going out,
That was it.
That we'd been together a day, it felt like a month. Been together a week, it felt like a year.
Yeah.
When you find the right person,
and
you connect,
Yeah.
and it's been like that every day since for 25 years.
That's good counselling for Ben.
Yes.
Thanks for
Oh,
Ben. I'm just joking, mate. I'm just
seriously.
joking.
He's so sensitive.
There's no need for that.
He is. No, but
One dog, one
'cause-
bone.
No, we got sense of it. When I say we, the Rel and I got sense of it, of the relationship, maybe a little bit earlier than some others.
What happened?
Well, Phil Lee used to live next door to us. Phil built our house, right? And there might have been some sleepovers in the Lee household,
Right, where
the
Ike was
Ikins
living.
and the Bennetts were involved.
Right. So you were tipped off.
Late in the night, taxi rolling in. He's
Listen.
not going to deny it. Look,
I was smart enough to make sure that Wayne and Trish knew before my teammates did.
Yeah, exactly right. So did you ever have that conversation with Wayne? Like, and I've never even asked you this, and it's not matter.
I've told the story publicly a couple of times. When we first met, I think I was a bit under the weather. 16 Forex Golds deep. We started chatting, and there was talk of going out on a date potentially, and full of bluster, I might have said, "Yeah, I'll ring you tomorrow." Knowing that Beth still lived at home.
Yeah.
Anyway, I woke up the next day and I thought, "What have I done?" There's if I ring Wayne's house and he picks up the phone, I'm not saying, "Can I speak to your daughter?"
No. You just if Wayne answered, you could have. Oh, what time's training on today, mate? I forgot. I'm just waiting here.
I was smarter than that, Kev. So what I did was actually I rang Phil Lee and got Phil to talk to his wife Renee. I got Renee to ring Beth and got Beth to ring me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
25 years and 4 kids later.
how good and happy as happy.
25 years, geez, good Lord.
Premiership year 2000. You're a premiership player for the Brisbane Broncos. It can never be taken off you. It's one of the great things.
I'll tell you something that did get taken off him was the Clive Churchill medal. He had it at half time, around his neck. Around his neck.
And then got wiped.
And then he got wiped out. Who wiped you out?
Simon Benetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually played with, I think, well, no, not I think, I know, in the junior Kangaroos.
Right.
A good bloke. But
But
just whatever
obviously
reason, I
wasn't
was just,
intentional.
early
Yeah.
kick, second half, and elbow straight to the jaw.
And the thing about it is, at least you're in all the photos afterwards. Like, it would have been a travesty that you weren't in any of the photos
I was in
celebrating.
every
up there.
photo for the rest of the week, Dobbo.
Professional.
It did.
Ikey's like me, professional celebrator.
Yeah.
There's a camera, you know where to head.
Yeah.
Front and centre.
So that the party afterwards.
Yep.
Kev talks about he got offered to go and watch Kathy Freeman run at the Olympics, and he's like, "Nah, we're going going to Bali with the team." Well,
Yep.
I can only imagine, and you're a very
it was so
sensible.
good.
The whole
Bali
thing was good for me. Like premierships were getting boring for some blokes at the Broncos.
Yeah.
For me, having got to 2 prelims and not been able to advance even to a grand final, to come to the Bronx, be part of that team. I mean, you have to just think on the side and some of the names. So there was our captain. For me, the whole thing started, on I think it was a Monday afternoon at the Gap, 10 months earlier.
Yeah.
Where, there's 50 of us go out to this run, and it's in the dead heat of the summer afternoon in November. We all amble our way to the start of the run. I think it's about 8 Ks.
Just on 8K.
And it's hot, right? And everyone's whinging about it, so I'm starting to get nervous, and, Kev's in the group, and Longneck comes over, he wanders in, and he joins us on the starting line. I thought, what's going on here? And so on that particular day, that 8K run, Wayne ran with us, right? You know what happened? He finished third out of the group. Finished first?
No. Kev.
Mm-hmm.
So at the start of a journey towards a premiership, if you've got your coach and your captain setting the tone that way,
you're going. Yeah.
I mean, there's not much you're not going to do for those guys, and that was certainly the case. So by the time you throw in the leadership and then the list, so Sivanasiva, Webke, Thorne, Carroll,
Tallis.
Saylor, Takiri, Devere, Walters, Lockyer.
Yeah.
I mean,
keep it
wow,
going.
Priddis. I mean, it was a strong squad, and it's a long journey. I'd experienced success at the Origin level, where it's a kind of a whole lot crammed into a short period of time. A whole lot needs to go right even to make a grand final, let alone win one. So to think that I was finally able to be part of something like that, it deserved a good party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did have a knack for being able to organise things. I'd been to Bali the year before with a couple of mates on a surfing trip.
Yeah.
So I said, I know where we can go, boys, and everyone jumped in. So they
there
just
was
let
so
me
many
organise it.
people
Yeah.
on
Was
the
it
tour.
good?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
Craig Bellamy was on it. He was our assistant
assistant
coach. Yeah.
He came on the not Wayne. Wayne didn't go.
No, Wayne didn't come.
No.
And someone went home early.
I had to go early. Jet had a dislocated finger.
Yeah, so you went.
I made it up, right? I made it up. I'd had enough. Well,
You're finally on the record. This is the first time you said it publicly.
Well, probably is, right? But I'm 10 years older than all these blokes. They're all young and ready to go.
and
you were broken. You were broken.
I'm retired, mate.
Yeah.
He was wounded.
I was broken.
Yeah.
They wounded. I can't drink.
And so what'd you say?
They're just pouring bottles.
He chapped
What's the
out.
SP lager? Just in here. Well, here, Kevie, have another
So
beer.
he come on and it had leaked. Someone, I think he might have told Gordy, who was rooming.
I roomed with Gordy,
And
yeah.
Gordy had leaked it. He said, I think Kevie's booked a flight to get home early. His body's shot.
Yeah.
So he made up some
I did
story.
5 days. I did 5
Jet
days.
dislocating his finger or doing
Yeah,
something.
that'd do you.
Anyway, so by the time we're well into the evening on his last night,
Yeah, the flight left at night. That's right.
Word gets out, and so it was a pretty beautiful thing. Word gets out that he's going to go home. He's our captain, and so we gave him a guard of honour as he left the nightclub in Bali. And you may or may not know this, but he went home. You know, he's very emotional.
Yeah, I did.
Full
I
of
did
Forex
shed a
Gold or
tear.
Bintang. Sorry,
Bintang, yeah. Bintang.
And he wrote a note.
Yeah.
And he left it for Gordy. Anyway, Gordy put it in his pocket, and we only had one more night to go, I think. And Gordy brought it back the next night, and we're all together as a group. And he read Kevie's note to the group.
And
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
a bit of emotion in there too, but just such a because I was at the end of my career. This is Ben Ikin, not about it, but these blokes was just so young, and I was kind of envious, but also just so happy for these guys, knowing that their careers were just starting and mine was finishing. But I felt that these guys are in for the best 10 years of their next 10 years of their life. You know,
That's right.
And you know, it was just a great.
And he went soft,
great
let's be
moment.
honest.
Yeah. Dislocated
well,
finger. I've heard that. That's a bit
Poor
like-
old Jet's never recovered.
You seen his finger? Oh,
Yeah,
that's a bad
shocking.
trick.
Horrible.
Like,
Yeah, well.
you retired early, yeah, no question. And it must have been a hard decision for you because, I mean, you were a gifted footballer. Was the injuries that bad? And what led you to deciding? Because I can only think some blokes who, they obviously don't know anything more than rugby league, and that, to say this with respect, they recover from the injury, they just want to keep on going. But you were very definitive, like, after that. I always say you retired too early, but you say you retired at the perfect time. How did that come about?
A couple of things. I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. I couldn't train with the team the way I used to. I couldn't do the things on the field. I probably, if I had been a little more patient, which is not a strength of mine, come out the other side. But I also had in the back of my mind, because when I did my knee in 2001, I effectively ripped every ligament, off the bone in half, and it took 2 years and 3 operations to put it back together.
Yeah.
So I come back. It gives me a whole lot of grief now, but I reckon in the back of my mind, I'd already started to have kids, and I wanted to have an active life with my kids. And once that was in my brain, this thing that we played for a living, mate, it is a brutal collision sport.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go at it half-hearted.
Yeah.
You're either all in or you're not.
Yeah.
And I was starting not to be all in anymore. And once that infected me, I started to get distracted about the next part of my life professionally and started preparing myself for it. And I've got to be honest with you, I know a lot of guys miss not playing. I have never missed not playing since I retired. No.
Because you knew it was right. You knew you were done.
Well, I still keep good friendships. All the things I loved about the game, apart from, the 80 minutes, I still do. I catch up with my mates. We talk footy. We, go down rabbit holes about, what
The rules and
everything.
You're the
we talk
ultimate
about
stirrer.
teams and
You stir every single person that you're
good
close
fun.
with. Yeah. So how does that go? Does it make it easier that it's your father-in-law at this stage? Were you married
To
at this
retire?
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with it. I
Didn't he?
told Wayne. No,
Did he?
Wayne didn't try and talk me out of it.
Didn't he?
No, I
Or
was really
back into it? No, he didn't.
No. I came back and played 1 year part time.
Yeah.
The following year for the Toowoomba
Clydesdales.
Clydesdales and got sucked up, to play a few games for the Broncos. And the only reason I went back is because my first job out of footy, I wasn't earning enough and I hadn't budgeted, so I went back to play for the match fees.
Yeah, is that right?
And look, I'm glad I did. It was
So
fantastic.
you finished. Your last game was in Townsville with Gordies, wasn't it?
2000. That was So I finished in 2003.
Right, and then you came
retired,
back.
and then they played me at dummy half in that game. So I'd played about 6 games that year where they ran short, and then Wayne took that semi-final to Townsville.
Yeah.
And it was actually that the dummy half role for that game was down to 2 people, Ben Ikin and Paul Green.
All green. Wow.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he chose you?
Yeah, I started. And it ended up Gordy. That was his last game, so I was happy that I could be there for that. What a magnificent career, the Raging Bull, having a chance to play with him. So 2004 ends, and I'm starting to pick up a bit of media work, so I don't need the match payments from the footy.
Yeah.
And then I just cut ties with me, the player, and move on to the next phase of my life.
You're unbelievable at compartmentalising and just saying, right, that part's over, get on with it, and you can't do it. So
I've had to get better at it because, to be fair, what I learned about myself actually while I was at the Broncos from Phil Jauncey, used to do those personality assessments, and my personality type is thinker-feeler, heavy feeler. So it's the worst type of personality you can have doing a job in the public domain where everybody's watching.
I could be like that as well.
Yeah. So you feel things deeply.
Yeah.
Like, and not just the traditional stuff. Like I can get emotionally drained from being in a room with a lot of people. It can. But beyond that, once you feel deeply, the other thing I learned is that I overthink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing and understanding that about myself, you then start to shape a life where you want to have a better experience. And the thing I had to learn, particularly because TV is a lot like professional sport playing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
And in the world today, everybody has an opinion about who you are, what you do, and how well you do it, right? And so I can't go into that place. Otherwise, it'll tear me from the inside out. So a couple of things. I choose not to, and I've become very good. If it does find its way into my world, I just put it in a box and put it on the shelf. Otherwise, it drives me to distraction.
Well, I remember when we started working in 2012 together. The greatest show on, then you obviously
Dead Set Legend,
and you took over from him when he quit. I got him 1 year and he quit.
I couldn't do another year.
Yeah, but Ike, one day
I have empathy for you, mate.
Somebody said to me something about Ike, and I remember going to Ike in 2012, and I was, mate, at that stage, like completely a basket case. Ike goes, mate, I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss. My circle doesn't bag me. I don't want to know. And I've always remembered that. Like, you're like, unless it's somebody within your circle, you don't actually care what you care, but you just don't choose to listen to it.
Well, this thing we work in now, I mean, look, shows like this didn't exist 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. But you look at how many there are now and how many people are consuming them. If you work in professional rugby league, the noise is off the charts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if you let your focus in the doing of your job become more about what people say about how you do your job than actually how well you do it, it's going to undermine how well you do it. Yeah.
Well, Wayne Bennett has that famous saying, doesn't he, about coaching, and listening to, with all due respect, to supporters and fans. He said if you start to listen and take advice from those sort of people and listen to what they're saying to you, you're going to end up sitting with them very shortly.
Yep.
Yeah.
People don't realise you obviously went into a football role at the Gold Coast Titans for some time, but I think I went into a commercial role. But I think where you became more relevant, it was your media. Like you obviously were with Channel 9 for a period of time in the commentary, and you were very good at that. Then it was when you went to Fox and Gary Burns, and when you started on NRL 360. Can you just talk to us about, because it was a 1 day a week show, like when you started it, and it grew into what it is now, which is a juggernaut.
Yeah, so it was introduced into the rugby league onto Fox League, which I don't even know if we were a full-time channel at that point. It might have just been Fox Sports 2 or something. Yeah. But they had designed the show for AFL, and at that point had done the same. They'd gone from 1 night a week and stripped it to 4 nights a week in the AFL, led by Gerard Whateley. Anyway, Gary Burns got an idea that he wanted to do the same show for rugby league 1 night a week. And I went and did the pilot. Yeah. So they tested a whole lot of people. few journos, a few hosts like me, and it ended up being myself and Paul Kent getting one night a week. And then I had never hosted a TV show before.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I'd done a lot of commentary. I'd done a lot of panel work for Channel 9. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this well, I've got to figure out a way to learn the skills to produce, good TV. And so I went and got a voice coach off my own bat.
Yeah.
I went and did a 2-day...
So what just explain what's a voice coach do?
I had a really strong Queensland accent. You might not think they exist, but they do.
Right.
And so there's a whole lot of stuff.
With the A's and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, and wasn't finishing my words. So instead of saying Monday, Tuesday, all these little things that were just lazy in your language. And I didn't know about these things. Someone had just suggested go and meet with this lady. Melissa Agnew was her name. Did a bit of work with her. And funnily enough, I did a couple of sessions with an acting coach who is now coaching my oldest daughter, Grace.
Is that right?
Gareth Harris.
Yeah.
And I did a 2-day workshop for presenters, and I was the only male in the class, aspiring TV presenters.
So that would have been a tough couple of days.
Why had
in
Fox
the lead up, in the
Yeah.
off season, in the lead up to the first year of NRL 360. Now, I downloaded an auto cue app on my iPad and learned how to read auto cue. I still remember though, in the first trial episode, I was working with my producer Joe Bromham, who now runs Fox League. He was the first ever producer of NRL 360.
I remember Joe.
And he got me to set up on auto cue, and then midway through the pilot, Burnsy busts through the double doors, turn that auto cue off, you're not using auto cue, because he'd work with Fatty, it's all very natural. Anyway, I thought, oh wow, but ultimately we found a way to use a bit of auto cue, make it as live and as raw as possible.
Sure.
We do one show a week for the first couple of years. Patrick Delaney decides he wants to strip it to 3 nights a week. You just keep coming back every year. You try and do the thing a little bit better.
Which you
More
do.
people watch, and 10 years later, you're off ready for the next thing.
He sacked me. He sacked me from 360.
You were never on 360.
He
you
was.
were Channel 9, mate.
No.
He came on.
No.
He was. So he had a segment.
There'd be a reason for this.
No, this is a true
We're
story.
doing Queensland crosses.
Yep.
And so I gave Dobbo and I were mates. I said, mate, I'll give you an opportunity.
So what year is this, Ike?
It
Could
might
be
have been
14,
2015,
15.
2016.
Yeah. No, it wasn't 16.
Anyway, we let him have a run of shows, and he was producing all the mail out of Queensland. Then I got Fox Sports stats to run an analysis.
This is not
on
true.
The accuracy
this
of
is
his
actually
mail.
not true. This part of it. This is not right.
3.25%.
This is not true.
So I said, mate,
this is not true.
You've got to be.
You're making up stuff.
You've got to be hitting at least 10% on your mail. He didn't get there. So
No, on the Fox Sports lab.
We got Peter Bedell.
Peter Bedell.
Yeah.
Then Bedell got
Much more accurate.
Yeah.
bullshit. Let's don't
Right.
start.
How long
that.
did you last at Fox?
1 year.
I don't remember you working.
No, I did. I was calling with you. I remember the phone call. Ike rings up and he goes, "Now, mate." Because I was
You did the sacking.
No, he had to sack him. I was double dipping at this stage. Right? I was taking the piss. Like Fox had paid me on a Wednesday and Nine had paid me on a Thursday.
Right.
So I'd hold the mail for Nine because I was getting a bit of commentary.
Bit more.
Right? My
more.
mail was always right.
What about the cash for
My
for
mail was
Nine?
always right.
Was it a bit more?
My mail was always right, Ike. Like
Nah.
that's true.
That's a no,
I
mate.
call that revisionist history.
No, well, I'd like to go back to the records. The records would show I got it right a lot of times.
Well, we're not.
Anyway, the bottom line is, Ike rings me up. I knew it was coming.
That would have been a tough phone
Joe
call,
would
mate.
tip
Tough.
me. Joe,
Enjoyable.
Yeah, he got great enjoyment. He said, "Now, mate, we're moving on from you." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Mate, your time at Fox is done." That was it.
Well, at least he was honest.
Yeah,
mate.
it was
That's
good.
right.
It was
Very
good.
honest.
Like 10 years. You and Kenny are unbelievable. You just get a friendship when you work so closely to somebody, and he's an amazing guy. I know what everybody sees on the outside, but you're close to him. An amazing bloke to work with, and you must, in a lot of ways, be so thankful that you got to have that time with him.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And we didn't know each other before we started.
Yeah.
And look, he is an absolute elbow on the ribs, Kenty.
Yeah.
He tells you what he thinks about what you think, whether you want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
And there's something I really admire about that. It took me a while. He's no doubt an acquired taste, but there's no dishonesty by omission with Kenty. He tells you what he thinks about you while you're in the room.
Right.
He doesn't wait for you to leave.
Yeah.
Beyond that, he's got a big brain, so huge intellectual grunt. He reads a lot. He's got a deep knowledge on a lot of topics, but he has this great passion for the game, and he brings it all together and wraps it around rugby league. He taught me a lot. I had no news sense, understanding if you're going to do a news show, what goes at the top, how do you talk about it, how do you unpack it to make it interesting. He loves good writing, so he collects books of his favourite writers on multiple genres, and often I'd be at the desk writing NRL 360 that night. He'd stop me, he'd say, mate, just read that paragraph. It's beautiful. And I'd read the paragraph, and I'm like, what? Give it back.
He's fascinated in reading and writing and words and stuff like that.
That's right. And
the good journos, the good print journos, they love to write. They love all that.
That's right, they do.
Well, he used to. Yeah, well, that was his role. He was a print journo when he first started, wasn't he?
Yep.
He used to have his own.
Yeah.
Like back page or
and he was front page. He wrote general for a while.
He did journalism the old-fashioned way, a cadetship.
Yeah.
He still writes in shorthand.
Is that right?
Yeah. And so for me, there was a deep respect between the two of us. Like, we are complete opposites in so many respects. Like, I'm a train spotter by nature, and Kevie probably would have got a sense of this, a bit at the Broncos, but I go down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And I want to understand the complexity of everything and then sort of distill it back into something.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is that if while I was on 360, if I had done a show in my image, talking about the things that fascinated me, there'd be about 5 people watch it.
Yeah.
So Kenty helped me balance that. He said, mate, you've got to remember our audience and how we need to package things up and keep them interesting, and there needs to be people involved. It can't be about what you put on your spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a real learning journey, and he was really patient with me as I learned. But over time, as he got to see more of me, I think there was respect come back the other way.
And I reckon he learned a bit off you. And he said that, like, he learnt to the way you hosted and to go deeper into things, more analytical, because you're very analytical compared to, and he's very just like, it's raw and you either love him or you hate him, and it polarises.
Well, when you're doing TV, I mean, you both know this. Yeah. You've got to remember there's actual people out there watching.
Yeah.
So it's not interesting. If you can't keep them hooked, they'll go and watch somewhere else. Yeah.
You finish, you go to the Bronx.
So 10 years on 360.
Yes.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
How many shows roughly would that be?
I don't know.
It was years. So there was a lot of 3 years.
So
you're
shows. Probably doing about, 90 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of back and to and fro from Sydney.
Yeah, but it was pretty easy in the sense that I'd go down on a Monday morning. I stayed a little 4-star joint across the road from Fox in Artarmon called Hotel Urban.
Yeah.
Still there?
Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
And I'd stay there. I think we crossed paths a couple of times at Hotel Urban. I'd stay there Monday night, Tuesday night, and I would literally walk off set Wednesday night at 7:30, rip the makeup off, and I'd make an 8:30 flight home.
Yeah.
And then the only real prep you're doing in between that Wednesday night and the following Monday night is watching the footy.
Yeah.
And making sure you're across all the issues. It was.
Do you think you ever go back to the media? Like, clearly now, you retired from the media, you went into corporate, right? You went into football, back into the Bronx, and we know we're going to get to where you are now. But do you think that we'll ever see Ben Ikin back in media?
I think I'm in good company when I say this. I've learned in rugby league, you never say never.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like if you've got, Kevie's transitioned out of media into coaching at different times. He's had a balance. That's about to restrike up again. National coach, doing a whole lot of media for Fox, and this stuff here is that you just never know where your career is going to take you in rugby league. So the more things you can be good at, the more value you can add for the game, the more employable you become. But at the moment, I'm wholly committed to this role at the QRL. I really enjoy it. I love what the QRL stands for. But at some point, we might have to go our separate ways.
So that was a big step. I mean, out of the Bronx, you're in the footy department, but you go into the QRL like as a CEO of a huge organisation, and I mean, it's people go, oh well, okay, he's the CEO of the QRL. I mean, just the sheer numbers that you are in charge of. Can you from the playing numbers?
A lot of stakeholders, but it's a $50 million business.
Yeah.
And what we're running at the Bronx, it's about a $25 million business, just a football program inside an NRL club on its own.
Yeah.
We had about 25 staff,
Yep.
you're probably up to 50 odd players.
Yep.
And then you've got
Thereabouts,
all these stakeholders on the outside you're needing to manage. You've got journos, you've got player agents, you know, you've got
sponsors, all that sort of stuff with players.
You know, so it's, you know, elite sport, when you do the stakeholder map, is off the charts.
Yeah.
And so you've got to learn, if you're in a leadership role, how you manage your way through that. You've got to learn how to prioritise what you give most of your energy to.
Yeah.
And so I've certainly, you know, we did that at the Broncos. I've certainly done that in the QRL role. I know I've got a great team around me, but we've got 350 community clubs in 34 leagues. All of them have committees, right? And they all play an important role in the game. We've got 20,000 volunteers that we have to work with to deliver that part of the game for 70,000 players. You know, and that's before you get into the 15 Queensland Cup clubs, who all have their own boards and CEOs, and then you've got the 2 Origin programs right up the top. We've got a full book of sponsors. So for me, who effectively sits at the top and works in partnership with my board, you have to get very good at working through people. Because if everything has to happen on your terms, in your way, all of the time, you are going to burn out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is that the secret, being able to... I'm a hopeless delegator. I think it's a real struggle when you went there. You'll want control, and as a CEO, you want control on the board. Has that been the hard thing at the QRL, being able to go, right, you're in charge of that, and I've got to trust that person, and then disengage in a way that you have to back those people to get it done.
You have to work through people. Yeah, but you have to make that's the essence of leadership, is providing clarity for the people that you're leading.
Yeah.
This is where we're going, this is how we're going to get there, and this is your role in it. Yeah. And if people have clarity, it gives them certainty, that they know where they can invest their energy. Then you've got a team of people. I mean, when teams are functioning at their best, you know, sports teams. I mean, Craig Bellamy's kind of built his reputation off the back of a very simple game plan, but every single player has 2 or 3 jobs. And the reason he does that is because to get the best out of each individual, if they know their role, then they're more likely to do their job, which is the Patriots thing, right? Yeah. Know your role, do your job.
Yeah.
And if you've got a team of people who you've made that clear to, and that gives them the chance to be at their best, then collectively, you know, you are advancing the cause. And in a complex business like the one I run, all I'm trying to do is take this thing, lead it, work with a whole heap of good people, and make sure it's in better shape at the end of the year than it was at the start. Because as a head coach, whenever you come into the cycle, when you take charge of a team, the major KPI that you've got, are you getting closer to a premiership or further away?
Yeah.
You just want to be advancing the thing. You want your players improving, and then you want your team playing better football. You'll have seasons where there's some stuff out of your control that knocks you sideways because, as I said before, a whole lot needs to go right to win a comp. But ultimately, if you know where you want to take them and you can communicate that to your people, they're a better chance of giving you what you need.
Yeah, I wonder, like now, and when you look at the QRL, and there's all these different stakeholders. You to grow the game of rugby league, and we talk about, you know, we sit at the top of it, but you know the bottom line is there's all these different organisations and junior football, and there's young boys and girls wanting to play football every week, and that you're in essence in charge of oversee. So how do you get it right? You guys have had to make some really hard changes of junior rugby league in the last 18 months to 2 years, just with CTA.
The change isn't hard, Dobbo. No one working at the QRL wants to see rugby league in worse shape.
Yeah.
But in terms of making the game safer and more accessible and, you know, de-risking it, you know, in this modern world, is that it means you have to change the rules or how the game gets played. It can't be played the same way it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The only difficult part is when you make the change, is that people will blow up deluxe, you know, and tell you that you're killing the game. But if you can sit down with good people who represent, you know, different constituents or communities across the state and get feedback and talk to them about why you're doing it, you know, that's part of the consultation process. You just need to be comfortable that when change comes, there's going to be fallout.
Yeah,
but you're doing it for the right reasons.
You get left behind.
That's right.
Do you find that when you get to that, like, I mean, is that half the battle, having to sell why you're doing that change? And
we do a bit of that, but mate, ultimately, no matter what it's worse than it's ever been. The moment anybody stands for anything in the public domain now, you're going to have 50% of people that are going to hate on you. They're going to be outraged.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of how you do something, and this is, I'm comfortable getting things in market that aren't perfect. My view is you do the thing, you review the thing, you refine it, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
And if you keep on that cycle, it just means that you're constantly, heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
To that point I made before, the thing will be in better shape at the end of the year than it was at the start. And if that's the case, you look up in 5 years' time and you're miles in front.
Yeah. What about our junior rugby league, boys and girls? How's that situation now across Queensland? The numbers, registrations...
Participation continues to grow. And it's just not in...
Is it
masked because of the female role?
No. There's growth in the male game, seniors, juniors. You'll have some areas that tail off, and it's largely due to the fact that the demographics or the challenges in a particular community in a particular part of Queensland are impacting not just rugby league but all sports.
Yeah. So clubs are in some areas are closing down and other ones start.
That's exactly right, and that's always been the case for as long as the game's played, right? But you will have some strong advocates that have come out of a town that 20 years ago the game was thriving, and it's not the same as what it used to be, but the town's not what it used to be, and you've just got to account for that. Yeah. But ultimately, our singular goal, our primary focus as a community rugby league team at the QRL is to have healthy clubs and leagues. The view being is that if we can support volunteers to make sure that everybody that's turning up to a community club is having a fun and safe experience, they will come back.
Yeah.
And they'll more than likely bring someone with them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I've challenged recently in the press is some of the behaviour on the sidelines has gotten out of control. My view is that because there's so much money up the top now, there's a whole lot of stress and urgency for parents and officials and volunteers in some respects
to get it right.
Get it right down here. That's where they think the NRL journey starts. But I'm just trying to implore to everybody, everywhere I go, that all you need to do in community rugby league is make sure the kids are having a fun and safe experience.
It's nice to hear, Ben, because that's, if I think back to my junior days as a club in Clubland at Beval Swifts, I had a great experience and I was well coached.
Yeah.
And that's all you want. Let's talk about Origin.
And eligibility. Can we get to eligibility soon or not?
Well, I don't know if Mikey wants to get it.
Well, I can give you my opinion.
Go. I would like to know what your eligibility rules are.
No, I've gone on the record, and this is not a QRL board position. We haven't been asked yet to take a formal position on eligibility, but I think you should be able to qualify for Queensland or New South Wales separate from your international eligibility. Right. So if you are born in Queensland and raised in Queensland and you qualify for Queensland, but say your parents are from Samoa or Tonga, you should be able to play for Queensland because you qualify for Queensland. You meet stringent criteria because I'm telling you, and we've got a case in Petro Sivanasiva. He played for Australia probably because he felt like he had to or wanted to, whatever. But he would be equally passionate as anyone I've ever met about wearing the maroon jersey. And I'm sure he would have had a deep passion for playing for Fiji at the back end of his career.
Had there been that option been available?
You can be passionate about the two things.
Ikey, should you have to declare that this is, and we talked about this today, I agree with you on that Queensland thing. But when you make that decision that you are Queensland and you are eligible in that, should you be picking the nation that you then choose from there and then rather than...
you shouldn't be able to represent multiple nations.
Yeah.
And I think like you want guys that want to wear the Australian jersey.
100% I do, mate.
Yeah. And that's when you play for Queensland and New South Wales or Australia, you want people who are passionate about wearing that jersey.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, like Jerome Luai would be as passionate as you're going to get about wearing the Blues jersey, but he's got a heritage that he wants to represent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That should be open. And Victor Radley, I think, he learnt rugby league. He learnt rugby league in New South Wales.
Yeah.
And he'd be a great Origin player. But I think he's trying to honour his parents and his heritage by playing for England.
Yeah.
You can't take a Sam Burgess or a James Graham. You can't reverse engineer it. You know what I mean? You come out to Australia.
Well, their passion wouldn't be for Australia, though.
No, but I'm saying they can't play Origin.
They can't play Origin
just because you come to Australia, right? That's when you all of a sudden you.
But what age do you like? We've had a lot of
Herbie came here.
No, Pacifica Nation boys come here at 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yep. And they learn how to play rugby league in Queensland or New South Wales.
Yep.
And so they were born in another
so
country.
You're saying like the Burgess comes here
at 20. 20s, no way.
No.
Well, Herbie tried to qualify, didn't he?
Yeah, and Herbie was 16 and he didn't qualify.
Yeah, which is right.
Yeah.
You know, he comes at the back end of his development journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. How hard is Origin? Can you just give us from inside the walls, like, as the CEO of what's Origin, and it is like we look at that as the pinnacle. In your eyes, is that the pinnacle?
No, I think it's a really important part of the game. It's just because there's so many people watching it. There's so much that hangs off the back of it. I think it's one of the most unique things in world sport, not just Australian sport.
Yeah.
No one gets it. Why a game played between two states every year rates the way it does is so engaging.
It's ridiculous.
Crazy. When you break it down like that, it's just crazy.
So, Kevie knows this deeper than me because I sit, one step removed as the CEO, and sure, I want Billy and Tarni to do really well and the players to win the series. But if you think you need to get a lot right across an NRL season, when you pack in 3 games of such high importance into a short period, you can basically get nothing wrong.
Yeah.
If you start a series slow, that's why this victory this year from Billy, down 1-0, losing the home game, off the back foot was so impressive. It's because it is hard to claw your way back. You haven't got time to find your rhythm again.
No.
You need to go from a poor performance to on point in the space of 3 weeks. Yeah. So, there's the football element, and then for us, inside of our commercial model at the QRL, we get a whole stack of money from the RLC, us and New South Wales Rugby League, to do what we need to do in the pathway and participation. And then we get a whole other chunk of money around Origin, which is all of these wonderful partners that we've got on the jersey. And so in the QRL, through the Origin period, community's going, the Queensland Cup competitions are going, Origin's going, and then everything that we've sold to sponsors gets delivered across that 7 to 8 week period. So everything that can be happening at the QRL happens in that 8 weeks.
You got a bit of downtime now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you step back out of that and you're straight back into issues in community rugby league. You're preparing for, final series in the BMD Premiership and the Host Plus Cup. Rugby league never sleeps, Dobbo.
Yeah. Who's the best player you ever played with, Ike?
Well, I played with Elf.
Yeah.
I played with old mate here. I played with Lockie, Greg Florimo.
He's a good player. He's a good footballer.
I've got a few guys, and Kevie was a great leader, had a great feel for the game. Was kind of everything Elf brought, but spoke a bit more, trained a bit harder. So to spend some time playing with Kevie and Elf in that Origin series in '98 first. I played with a couple of great athletes, Wendell and Lottie.
Yeah.
Lottie's probably a bit more naturally gifted, but Wendell was pure athlete. Greg Florimo was an all-rounder.
He was a beast, Florimo.
I love the flow.
I played against him many times, and he was one of the hardest players to tackle,
Yep.
He played 5'8" centre. The amount of times that he just caused havoc against the Broncos and for New South Wales. I toured with Flo on the 94 Kangaroo Tour. First time I really had anything much to do with him, and he was so passionate about rugby league. He was the CEO of the Bears.
Bears for years. No Greg Florimo. The Bears aren't still alive and fighting to the point where they get back in the competition over in Perth. I would also say you've got to take the guys that are the best grinders, and probably the best grinder I've ever played with was Gary Larson.
Yeah, I was going to say, or Billy Moore might have been one of your favourites too. Cause
love Billy too, but Gary Larson just softly spoken and cleaned up the middle, every single game. If Larry was on the field, then you knew you were going to be safe through the middle third. And then you've got the pure enforcers. Gordy's probably the first one that springs to mind. You know, you felt like, I mean, he got a bit tired in the defensive line occasionally.
The kettle.
Yeah, right. It was, you know, you'd be screaming at him and his eyes would be glazed over.
Yeah.
But when you're in a game with Gordy, it felt like you had a machine gun and they had a pocket knife.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good description because he could fire some bullets. That's for sure.
You ever remember like the hardest hit you ever got? Like, you know, hard players that we talk about on this podcast about bloke. You ever one particularly getting smoked?
Toughest? No, I can't. Never really got any massive shots. I did play in the outside backs. I used to get really nervous. The player I used to get most nervous playing against was Brad Fittler.
Yeah,
Freddie was brilliant. He was a big body. He had a big sidestep. He had a beautiful pass, and he was just a natural talent. But I reckon the toughest I've ever come across was Jeff Tuvey.
Yeah,
just on the
wow,
basis that
you're the second person.
Yeah.
Gordy said he's the toughest player he ever played against.
Well, on the basis that, you know, some guys that are little, you know, like Kevie and Elf, play clever in defence, whereas Tuv's, he played like a front rower.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have the subtlety.
And you reckon
in his
that's
game.
clever?
Yeah, he was tough though.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
like just,
he had cauliflower ears, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
Bad.
And he just
you can't have them as a half.
loved the contact. Didn't matter how hard he got knocked. He wanted to get back up in his feet and get back in the defensive line.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite rugby league moment from your career that you've just looked in clubland first up?
It'd have to be the 2000 premiership.
Yep.
Yeah. That
What about a favourite moment at the Bears? You got one there?
For the Bears.
Because we can't forget the Bears. They're back in, Dobbo. The Perth Bears. You going to be following them secretly?
Yeah. Look, I when they did get back in, it was funny. My immediate thoughts went more to other people, not about not how happy I was that was back. I got goosebumps thinking about Billy Moore and Gary Larson and Greg Florimer. And when I went down for the New South Wales Rugby League State of Origin launch earlier this year, and it was not long off the back of the Bears being announced coming back into the competition.
Yeah.
And Flo was there, and I saw him, and he looked at me, and he just put his arms out for a hug.
Yeah.
It was really special.
He get it. He got
it. I felt something in that hug, and I'm like, mate, no words needed to be spoken, because there are people there that just love that club. I've been at a few different clubs. I'm not from that region, but Flo is.
Yeah.
And so when you come across people like that, it reminds you how rugby league can get in your bones and your soul.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for those people.
Right. We skipped over a bit before, but you did play 2 games for Australia. How was that experience for you?
It was okay. I played off the bench. You have that moment where you get recognised as being in the top 17 players in the country at that time.
Huge.
Really special. But my main memory out of those 2 games was at the back end of game 2, Jason Smith got awarded, I think, Player of the Series or Player of the Match.
Yeah.
And we went back. The second game was in New Zealand, so we went back to the after-match function. He picks up this most beautiful, ornate piece for Player of the Series. And I went over to him, Smithy, that's good, mate. Can I have a look? Anyway, something distracted us both. He thought I had it. I thought he still had it. And, mate, the thing dropped on the ground and smashed into a million pieces. He just looked at me like that and then walked off.
I haven't seen him since.
No, I've caught up. Well, it's 30-year reunion.
Oh, well, talk to us about that too. We got to go into that space.
Go.
Every year, these blokes, it just every year you get together, don't you?
We know. Mate, I'm only just recently on the WhatsApp. I'm back off now, thankfully. But everyone had to get on a WhatsApp 95 reunion group.
Yeah.
And it was, you'd expected a group of broken down footballers to, be rude to each other and, dressing shared humour. It was the most beautiful exchange of messages about how everybody missed each other. Fatty saying it was the best 6 weeks of his life, how proud he was of us. So in the lead up, we built our QRL Partners Conference this year around a 95 reunion. So we flew all the players in. We put them in a table down the middle of the room where we had our major partners and our VIPs on table of 30 here, table of 30 there, and then the team down the middle.
Wow.
And I remember Fatty and Choppy got up to speak, right? And it was, I think, Rugby League's best commentator in Brisbane, Peter Pasoldis.
Yep.
You'd agree, Kev?
Well, come in the room, Martin.
Keep on going.
he was interviewing them both. Sportsman's lunch tone, a whole lot of funny stories. Then at some point, Fatty grabbed the mic and he started to speak to the team.
Right.
And it was like no one else was in the room. He just got emotional. Something overwhelmed him. And then he started to tell us how proud he was and what the 6 weeks meant to him. And at some point during the address, I'm looking at our VIPs and our partners, and they're looking at Fatty, and then they're looking at the players. It was like they were in the inner sanctum.
Yeah,
they'd been sort of welcomed to this experience. Awesome. So we spent that lunch together. We then went up to the Caxton, spent the night together. And then, of course, the series this year, there was some connection points. But like we were back in the room together, and it was like
yesterday.
95 happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Awesome. So good.
Ben Ikin, we appreciate you. Thank you for being with us on Inside Ball. It's been a while to get you here, but we're pleased.
We got him.
We got him, mate.
Well played.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.